Hey, welcome back. Alright, so our application so far has no content. I mean, there's no markup, our pages are empty. So let's start working on the home page. Let's fetch the screens that we have and show them here. Alright, but before we do that, let me go to the material UI documentation and show you something. So first thing is I want to implement a theme. Alright, where is it? Utils, no, customization, yeah, themes. Okay, so we don't have to necessarily, create a theme, but I want to create one. You can do so many things with the theme. You can set a color scheme, you can have like your font size, your global styles, all this stuff. So I'm going to create a theme and just set some colors, and because I don't like this blue. Alright, so to do that, let's go to our app.js. So here, we need to bring in two things. Let's go right here and do import MUI theme provider from at material-ui/core/MUI, not actually /styles/MUI theme provider. Next thing is the create theme function. So import create theme from at material-ui/core/styles/create. Actually, it's create MUI theme. Let me copy that and put it here. Alright, so to create the theme, we just need to do const theme equals, and we just call that function create MUI theme, and here we pass it an object with some options. So here we pass it this object with options, and for me I just want to have like a color palette theme. If you want to create yours, you can go to here, color, and you can take any of these colors and you can scroll down and there's a color tool here. Pick your colors. You can just have the primary colors, or you can have multiple shades. I've already got mine. I stored it in this text file. I'm just going to copy it. You can take the time to create yours. I'm just going to paste mine here and I'll just save. Actually, one more thing, we need to provide the MUI theme provider. I'm just going to cut all of this and do MUI theme provider, and it has a property of theme, and it's just theme because we named this variable theme. And close that, and let me paste everything back in it. Alright, so now everything that's got the color primary will have this main, and everything that's got the color secondary will have this main. And this contrast text is basically the color of the text that's on this element, and for me both colors, they have to have white text on them, which stands out the most. So let's go to our app. And there we go, the color has changed to this beautiful blue that I chose. Alright, so next thing, let's start showing the screens here. So to do that, let's go to the home. In the home, what I want to do is I want to have a section here on the left for screens, and I want to have a section on the right for the profile. And I want to have, like, if you've used Bootstrap before, you're going to have a row, and inside of that we have columns. I want a column on the left that's of the width 8 out of 12, and the right one would be 4. And for that, we're going to use the grid system. So the grid is basically this. So if you expand this, you just bring in grid, which is right here from Material UI, and you just put the container would be grid, and you add this container property. And then the elements will have this item property. So let's do that. Here in the home, I'm gonna remove this stuff, and I'm gonna put grid container and close this. And then inside of here, I'm gonna put grid item, and this will have a property small of 8. Which means up to small screen is going to have a width of 8, and XS, which is extra small, of 12. So in really small screens, it's going to take the full width. For now, I'm going to put the text saying content, and then let me copy this, paste it, and this will be 4, and on extra small screens it's going to be 12 as well, and this is going to be profile like this. So let's save. Oh, we need to bring in grid, of course. Import grid from material UI / core / is it just grid? Yeah, just grid. Like this. We save and let's go back to our app. And there we go. We have this, which has, if we inspect, we'll have, oops, let me bring this, let me put them side by side. If you can see here, it takes on the full width right now. Actually, I want to edit it because this is right now leaving no space between them. And as you can see here, you can have this property, spacing. Okay, let me look at the example, the proper example. So here, yeah, the second example. So if we'd look here, it's got this, where is it? Yeah, here you give the value of the spacing. Okay, right here. So grid, spacing, and then you give a number. So for me, I want the number 16. So here I'm gonna say spacing equals 16. I'm gonna save. Let's go back. And right now, if we inspect, you're gonna see that this would have a padding. Yeah, there we go. So it's got a padding, which is gonna push the content a little bit to the middle, so there would be space between our elements. All right, so let's go back to our app. So here in home, we have our grid here that says content, but here content is not enough. Obviously, we want to put our screens. So for this, we need to fetch them from our server. So in component did mount, I'm gonna send the request to our server, and for that actually we're gonna use Axios. So let's install that. Open up a terminal and say npm install -- save Axios, and let me go to my Firebase dashboard and grab the endpoint or the base URL of our API. Let me go to the project, to functions. And if you're just doing the React bit, this is going to be in the video description of part 14, or in a comment in the first video, or in both. All right, so I'll copy that. And if you've done the backend, of course, you know what to do. And so in React, the way we set up our base URL, instead of using it everywhere, we can just go to the package.json. And here at the bottom, we can add a property called proxy. And let's paste this. And without the last slash, because I want to add it on each request, because it makes more sense like that. All right, so Axios is installed, so let's bring it in. So import Axios from Axios. And here in the component did mount, we can do Axios.get. And here we send a request to /screams. And if you remember, or if you've seen the backend, okay, let me send this request. This is the type of data. Oops, it's a get request, and remove the body. So this is the type of data that we're gonna get. This is one scream. It's gonna have these properties. So here to /screams, of course, this returns a promise. So then result. What we want to do, we want to store these screams in the component state. So let's initialize that. So state equals an object, and it's got screams, and that's going to have an initial value of null. So here, if we get a result successfully, we do this .set state, and in the state we set the screams to, because this is Axios, we don't just say response. The data is actually stored in a key called data inside the response. So you do res data, and let's handle any potential errors. If there's any error, we just console log it. Error. Cool. All right. So let's actually show our screams, because right now we're just fetching them. And when we get them, let's, just in case, let's just console log them and see res.data. Cool. All right. So here, content, we want to put like a variable here, and let's call it, we haven't created it yet, but let's just call it, because these are the recent posts, excuse me. We'll say recent screams markup. And let's create that. So here, let's say let recent screams markup equal, and what we want to do here is we want to check if we have screams in the state. If the screams in the state are still null, that means we're still loading them, we're still fetching them from the server. The request hasn't got a response yet. So we can use this in a ternary operator. We can do this .state.screams as a condition. That means if it's not null, that means we've got the data. So let's actually show the data. So what we want to do here, let's do parentheses and let's do this .state.screams. So if it's true, that means it's got some value in it, it's not null. So this .state.screams.map, and for each scream, let's for now return a paragraph, and in that paragraph we open curly braces, and remember this is the data we get. Let's show the body. So let's go back. So for each scream, let's show scream.body, and as you see right now we have only 2 screams. Alright, so for each one we show that. Else, if it's still null, then we'll just show a text that says loading ... Alright, and we put that markup variable there, and we save. Cool, it compiles successfully. We go to our app, and it says loading because require status 404. Oh, there's another problem here for material UI because of the typography. Are we even using typography? Oh, we need to add this to our theme. I've seen this error before. So we go to app, to our theme, we add this property at the bottom. Typography, use next variants, and that error should be gone. But we're still not getting our screams because we get error 404. Localhost 3000/screams is not found. Maybe we need to rerun our dev server when we change the proxy. Let me do that. So I'll stop it and run it again. Alright, so yeah, we had to restart our server, and there we go. We get the text for the body text of our screams. For each scream we get the body text. So the first one says hello user and the second one says something. So there we go, we get them. Cool. Let's actually show them in a better way. We show who posted them and when and stuff like this. Now for this we're gonna need to have to create a where are we in home? Let me close this and this. So here in the home we need to actually use a component that's specifically made to show us details for screams. So let's create a component. Let's say here scream, and for scream we actually pass a property called scream, which is gonna be the scream. And let's close this. Let's import it and then create it. So import scream from, and then we're gonna put it in. So go back one level and go to components, do /scream. So let's create this. So here let's do new file scream. Of course this is a component, so it's Pascal cased. So the first letter is a capital. So let's do RCE tab. Let's remove this export. Now for this here, like I know we're gonna do some styling later. So let me show you something in the Material UI. Material UI, they prefer to use this CSS, JSS type of styling where you actually write an object, a JavaScript object, and then use a higher order component to apply those styles and make them into classes and then use them. If you want to see an example of that, let's go to, for example, buttons. And as you see here, they import this with styles component or higher order component, and then they create a styles object, and it's optional. If you want to bring in the theme, the global theme that you created in your app.js, you can do that. So any stylings that are kind of shared between components, you actually write them in the theme in app.js and then get the theme and then use them there, so you don't have to repeat yourself in multiple components. So it's like this: you bring in with styles, you create your styles object, and then you export your component with this higher order component with styles. So you pass it that styles and then you pass it your component, and then this will create an object called classes in the properties of this component, and then you get the classes and then you use it like this. So for each component you say class name equals classes.button, and now these styles in the button will be applied to this button right here. So let's implement that. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna put like some random style just to apply this method first. So here we'll have styles, and here well, we're gonna have a card. So let's put here for the card, let's just say display flex, which I don't think changes anything, and let's bring that with styles. But it doesn't change anything for this example. Of course, in many cases it does. So let's do import with styles from material at material UI / core / styles / with styles. And then we go here at the bottom, we do export defaults with styles, and then open parentheses and pass the styles constant, this one, close parentheses, open parentheses, and then pass our component scream. Now this will give us access to a variable classes in the properties. So inside the render, we can destructure this variable. We can say const like this, when classes equals this dot props, and of course this is the equivalent of saying const classes equals this dot props dot classes. This is called destructuring. So anyway, so now we have classes, we can actually access them. But let's create the markup of our screen, and each of our screens is going to be a card. So let's look at the card element. So if we go to cards, component demos cards, this is the card. This is one of my favorite elements in material design. It's this card that actually has this side shadow that looks, it's kind of like on top of the background, like kind of extruded a bit. So this is what we're going to use. We're going to have an image, but it's going to be on the left. So this is the kind of structure that we're having. We're going to have a card with a card media. Let's take some of these imports. So namely these 4 right here, or these 5. Let's paste them up here. Let's say muy stuff, and let's paste these, but we're not going to need actions or action area. Let's delete these. Let's do card, oh no, not like this, card, and inside of card we're gonna, first thing is we're gonna have the image, so card media, and this will have an image property, and this will be the image of the image of the post of the screen. It's gonna be in a variable called user image. So let's do image equals screen. Or actually, let's just say user image. Let's extract all those properties. So let's do const, or actually it's in the props as well. So the screen is in the props. Remember guys, the screen that we pass here, excuse me, is in the props. So here we can further destructure properties from an object inside of props by doing this. So screen like this, and then we do colon, and then we do another object here, and then we extract properties from inside this screen. So what we need is we need the body, we need created at user image, we need the user handle. I think this is all we need for now. Maybe the screen ID. Well, let's get all of them. The like count, and then the comment count. Alright, so this will extract them, and we're gonna access them like this. So alright, so we have the image. So there is this title property for the card media. Let's say profile image, if I can spell. Alright, so after card media we're gonna have our content. But I wanna or just let's just put card content for now. Let's not worry about the styling for now. Let's look at what it looks like and then style it. So here we're gonna have the handle of the user. So we're gonna use this thing called typography. In Material UI, it's preferable whenever you have some sort of text that you want to show, you want to use this typography object. So here, if we go to component demos, oh, actually it's up here. Yeah, in the style, typography. Typography is any type of text you have in your app, you use typography, and then you give it a different variant, which is going to give it a different size and styling. So for this, we're going to use typography. And by the way, whenever you're confused with these objects, you just or with these components, you can check them, the documentation and the API, component API. And you can as well, when you put they have types. So when you put a component, you can press Control Space in VS Code and you can see all the properties. Oh, actually I haven't imported it, so we can't see any. Okay, so let's import typography from Material UI /core/typography. Now, if I press Control Space, there we go. We get all the properties that can exist on this. And then if we type, let's say one of them, which is variant, and we do equal, and then we can get as well more properties here. For this, we're going to use the header 5. We want it to be slightly big. And let's close this, and let's say the value will be user handle. And then after this, we want to show when this was posted. So let's do typography variant, is it body? Let's give it body 2. Okay, body 2. And let's give this a color of text secondary, which makes it a bit gray because we don't want it to distract from the content. It's just like metadata. So this will be the created at. And now we want the actual body of the screen. So typography variant, is it body 1? Let's give it body 1. Let's see what this looks like. All right, so this is the screen. All right, let's save, and let's save here as well. It's compiling. It complains that we didn't use those variables. Let's look at our app. All right, so there we go. We get our card, but there's the color of the card and the color of the background are kind of the same. So let's change that. Let's go to app CSS and the global CSS, and actually here the body, we want to give it some sort of background color. Let's give it like a very light gray, RGB. I'm gonna give it 245, 245, 245, and let's save. Cool. So we have now gray, and these cards are white, so they stand out. Let's give this some kind of like margin, and this should be a link to the user's page. Here, screen. Actually, this we want to give it the component link. And the 2 will be actually a template string, so curly braces, backticks, and let's do /users. We haven't created this page yet, but let's just do /users and then pass user handle. We need to import a link. Import link from React router DOM/link. All right, let's check our app. Oh, this is underlined and the color is still the same. Let's fix that. So here, let's give the anchor tag globally. Let's give it no text decoration. So text dash decoration. Decoration none. And to change the color, let's go to screen. Where are we? We're here. So to change the color, we're just going to give it the color primary to get our blue color. Let's save everything. Cool. So there's no underlining and the color is blue. We click on it and it takes us to /user/Johnny. Cool. But we don't see the image actually, because for some reason it has 0 width. Can we inspect this and try to fix this? So, it's in a div. That's interesting. Let's just actually edit some styling here. So starting with the card, I want it to have a margin bottom, so that we'll have some space between the cards. Let's give it 20, and I think that's it for the card. Let's edit. Let's give this a class of classes dot details, which we don't, or let's say content, because it's the card content. And let's give the card itself class name of classes. Remember, we have this classes object, so classes dot card. Oh, we actually didn't give it earlier. And where's the image? Do I give the image a class? Yes, I think so. Okay, classes, class name equals classes dot image. We go here, let's give image some styling. Let's give it a minimum width of 200, and yeah, that's it. Let's style the content. So content, what do we want to do actually? Okay, let's give it some padding because it's too close to the edges. Give it like padding of 25. Let's see what it looks like. Alright, so we get the image now, but I think the image is kind of being stretched. Okay, I don't like this. Wait, let's do object fit. No, cover. It's the same. But I think if I were to make this div longer, it will stretch this, because we need, let's give it object fit cover, because that's a good property to give your images so that they don't get stretched by the changes of the dimensions of the image. Alright, let's save this and let's look at this. Alright, it's looking much better. Of course, we need to format this because we don't want to show this ISO time string. But this video is getting a bit long, so let's continue in the next one. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.